when I was in graduate school, we were enraptured with two things: dreams and rats. And it was really bad.
At the same time?
Yes, if you dreamt about rats. That's really bad. So, from a spiritual perspective, let's start it out this way.
Okay.
What if somebody has a dream where they're sinning?
Really?
Yeah. Let's say, a sin that he wouldn't do in real life, he thinks.
Oh, okay.
For example, he has an adulterous relationship on his wife. In the dream, he's not necessarily acting it out, but he's very interested in this woman.
Going to purgatory.
Okay, so is that a sin?
Of course not.
Okay.
Because again, sin is something you have to determine you want to do. And in your subconscious or in your dreams, it wouldn't be sinful. Often though, and John, we can't even go there. Come to think of it, John Paul the 23rd used to even be afraid of, when he went to bed at night, he was very cautious. He'd put his hands over his chest like this to make sure that he would stay focused all night, so very scrupulous. So sometimes people can be bothered with scrupulosity, even in their dreams, and say, Father, I had this dream last night, and so I really feel bad about it. But again, it's part of the reality of who we are, who God created us to be, to work things out. But it is no way sinful unless you wake up and act on it, or you wake up and say...
That was great. I hope I have it again tomorrow night.
Exactly.
What if they say, now this is you drifting into my turf.
Oh, dear. Hey, I have a degree in counseling.
Okay, all right, I can tell.
Yeah, can you tell?
You nod your head like a counselor. Very good.
I'm very gentle, kind, loving. Mm-hmm.
What if they say, but couldn't this indicate that somewhere in my subconscious I have that desire? That I want to do that, so therefore it's in me. Wouldn't that be a problem?
Temptation is never sin. Right? Again, I've talked about before, we were in seminary. They would tell us our strongest sexual temptation would come during consecration at Mass. And I looked at them, I said, you're out of your mind. Are you kidding me? But that's been very true. Because the reality, the devil comes tries to get us to focus on anything but Jesus. But as I've said 1,000 times, temptation is not sin.
1,001.
1,001. Temptation is not sin. 1,002. When it happens is that the devil will throw everything at you, but as long as you don't act on it, and as long as you don't give in to it, it's not sinful. But of course, when someone says, well, I might have that desire, well, we all have that desire to sin. It's called concupiscence. That tendency to sin that we all have. Everybody has it. Even the saints had it, except for the Blessed Mother. She's the only one that didn't have concupiscence. But everybody else has concupiscence, which is a desire to sin.
What if I say, ooh, that was a great dream, and sure hope I have it again tonight because I can live it. I can live the sinfulness and not be blameworthy. How about that?
Sure. Well, again, then your intention would be wrong. And so everything when it comes to sin comes through your intention, right? So if I intend to do this, then of course it's sinful. Remember, even for the mortal sin, serious matter, full knowledge. What's the third one, doctor?
And it must be
full consent of the will.
Woo!
Good.
I had it. The teleprompter,
Thanks,
the teleprompter kicked in right over your shoulder.
But anyway, you need full consent of the will for sin to be there. So when a person's dreaming, they don't have full consent of the will, and that's the whole point. So again, I can't say how many times I've said that Christianity is the forgetfulness of self, not the focus on self. And what too often people do is they're always focusing on themselves and their sinfulness, and did I sin, didn't I sin? And the devil loves that. He loves to keep you focused on yourself and your past. And Jesus says, I want you to focus on me in the future. And so, again, anytime I'm saying, are you focusing on yourself or are you focusing on Jesus right now? Well, I think I'm focusing on yourself. Yes, it's on yourself. So again, that doesn't mean we don't, when we sin, we focus. But even when we sin, what the devil does, he gives us that 1-2 punch. Bam, he gets us to sin, and bam, he makes us feel bad about it. And he says, see, you're no good, and then the cycle starts. But immediately, whenever we sin, we say, Jesus, this is me without you. I'll never do that again by your grace. Now we're immediately can focus on Jesus and focus on the future. We confess it when we go, but we don't stay focused on that.
What about the interpretation?
Interpretation of.
Interpretation of dreams. That happens in Scripture.
Sure.
Shrinks do it all the time, especially the older shrinks.
Yeah.
So what about this interpretation of what it means for my psyche?
Well, and again, I think everything that anybody does when they do that is all conjecture, isn't it? It's the best. It's a nice thought. You know, I've had in my spiritual life and in my walk, I've had many dreams that had great impact on my spiritual life. That this is where God was calling me. A lot of those dreams were, for me, was all about the devil and me being in a fight, you know, and me calling the name of God out and knowing who I am in Christ. But so sometimes dreams can have a great impact on your spiritual life. Sometimes, you know, again, in Matthew's gospel with in chapter 1, you know, St. Joseph was told in a dream to take Mary as his wife. And he says, you will call him Jesus because he will save his people from their sins. That all happened in a dream. So again, God can work in dreams and God can speak to us in dreams, but also, just like God can speak to us right now and in prayer, so can the evil one come at us and put things in it. But it ain't even the evil one. It can also be the world, the flesh, or the devil, right? So all those things we have to deal with in our spiritual life, our sleeping life, and our walking life every day.